You're listening to the Wheeler's Dog Podcast. This is episode 37. I'm Eugene B. Sims, and again, thank you for checking out the Wheeler's Dog Podcast, and this time there should not be a buzz going on. I turned off the air filter that runs in here. I forgot to do that on the last Patreon-only episode. My apologies for that added bit of noise in the background. As I record this in the game room, yes, I'm back in the game room. The wife is downstairs in my old office, so now it's her office. I like to think of it as ours, but yeah, she's taking it over. So Saturday morning, I was late getting the Patreon-only podcast out. Usually I get it out Thursday or Friday, but for various reasons, I had to delay it. So I put it out Saturday, and I had to record it undercover. It was talking about the mill. Yeah. So I had to be on the sly with it. But anyway, they like to sleep late on Saturday mornings. The mill likes to sleep late, period. You know, she got to get her 12 hours of sleep. You know, I'm not picking on her. I understand that as people get older, they need more sleep, and younger people need more sleep, you know, like little infants and things like that. But anyway, I got up by a normal 8 hours. I'd say I got up about, 8 o'clock Saturday morning. And, let's just say that Mercury in retrograde was kicking my ass. Yeah, I got up first thing, take the dogs outside. Not a problem there. Not affected by Mercury in retrograde. But I go to prepare some coffee and, I got some cold water that ran through the pod, and it was maybe about 2 fingers deep in a 12-ounce mug, or maybe a 16-ounce mug. I just have 1 cup a day, that's it, 16 ounces, and I like a lot of half and half in mine. That's right, I like my coffee hot and blonde. Anyway, the thing was not working. I was like, oh, okay, all right, wonder what's going on here. Tried it again. It said it was brewing. Nothing was coming out, and it didn't stop brewing. Had plenty of water in it. You could see that. So I said, well, obviously something's going on in the mechanism. Let me turn it off, unplug it for 10 seconds, and try it again. Well, same deal. Wouldn't do a damn thing for me. So I said, oh, what the hell. I'll just unplug the thing, leave it unplugged, and just let it go. You know, see what happens. Later on, here comes my wife with a cup of coffee. I said, hey, you're having a cup of coffee? She's like, yeah. Somebody unplugged the machine. I said, that somebody was me. I said, it worked fine? She goes, yeah, why? I told her the deal. It's been working fine ever since. Again, I'm going to chalk it up to Mercury in retrograde. Yeah, it's very ugly. Then also, I'm sitting here doing the podcast, getting, prepped for it, and my phone rings up. It's my friend Paula. Well, our friend Paula. Jamie's known her forever. The kids kind of grew up together. I answered the phone. I couldn't understand why she'd be calling. Maybe she was in trouble. And I'd help her out of trouble if I could. Unless, it's something deep and dark and nasty that I don't know about her, Can't be too careful about people depending on what they're in trouble about. Yeah, I don't want to be mixed up in that. I don't need to make the newspapers or even social media with that kind of stuff, but immediately my concern was up. I was like, oh, Paula's calling me. Let me find out why. And she said, I thought you weren't going to pick up. I was like, what do you mean? She said, the speak line. I was like, what? Why is it coming to my phone? I don't even have my phone set up to it. And I don't. So somehow Google attached my cell phone to the Google Voice. So I got the phone call. Bizarre. I didn't do it. So I went back and took the number off so it wouldn't happen again, because I want you to call the speak line, the Wheeler's Dog speak line at 336-422-6006. And Paula has a message. She left a message for me. It'll play a little bit later. Also, Cheryl called in. She had a message. That'll play a little bit later. So I just kept on about my day, and I was like, oh, okay. Still working on the podcast. Then all of a sudden, my computer, I'm using my wife's laptop. It's a Dell, and there's this thing that keeps popping up. As a matter of fact, it's popped up right now. Support assist for home PCs version 3.5.0. Loading PC optimizations tools. So, that's been going on and on. Well, the first time it came on, Saturday morning, while I'm working on the podcast, it would not go away. I couldn't do anything with the computer because it would not go away. I tried hitting the run now. I tried to schedule. I tried the X. I tried everything that I could think of, and it would not go away. And at about that time, that's when I decided to pop open my first sedative. And I'm talking about my Yingling Light. We had a friend coming over. My wife's, one of her besties came over, Michelle. And so I was going to set up the Ion Explorer. I took a break from everything, trying to get a break, because Mercury was screwing with me hard. So I go out to set up the Ion Explorer 2, and it's a Bluetooth speaker device. It's a sound system, basically. Look them up. They're actually pretty cool. So I'm trying to set that up for Chigs and Michelle outside. 30 minutes it took to get it figured out. And I had to bring up a different Explorer. I mean, it just was not working. They were not communicating between my Amazon Fire tablet, which, by the way, this is my second one. I had to get a second one because the other one said it was running out of memory. And I tried every trick in the book to get that cleaned out. I don't ever save anything to it. Maybe apps, so I don't understand. But anyway, it took me 30 minutes to get that figured out. Break a sweat because it was humid out there and the sun was shining. Not good. So, finally got that set up. And I was like, all right, let me get back to the podcast. Let me see if that thing has stopped running. See, there it goes right now. Starting your scheduled scan. It will begin a complete PC scan in 23 seconds. They're regularly scheduled, and it keeps the PC running its best by identifying driver updates and potential hardware and performance issues. Run later, run now, or X. No matter what I do to it, it's not going to go away. And it's been doing it every day since Saturday. So I don't get it now. It's down to 1 second, 0 seconds, and who knows what it's doing. But I'm still recording this podcast. It's about to drive me up a wall. Matter of fact, I think I'll take a sip of this La Croche carbonated water. Yeah, trying to stay hydrated. So that's been popping up over and over again. But I found a workaround on Saturday with the second time. It went away when I wanted it to go away. First time it did not. So then I finally got the Patreon-only episode up after a headache brought on by aggravation. I had to have 4 beers to calm my nerves. It was insane. Mercury in retrograde was screwing with me hard. Ugh. And then about 11:45, whiskey shots.
You want extra episodes of the Wheeler's Dog Podcast? Of course you do. No one in their right mind would pass up an opportunity to get a bonus episode every week. Not every once in a while, but one every week. Just go to patreon.com/WheelersDog and get into the dog share for just $4. $4 every month unlocks all the audio. You can even listen with the Patreon app for tablets and smartphones. Patreon.com/WheelersDog to contribute. It's the best gift that you could ever give yourself, really. Maybe.
And we've got our first call on the Wheeler's Dog speak line. Again, 336-422-6006. Take it away.
Well, hello there, Eugene. Wheeler's Dog Hotline. This is Cheryl Kelderman, coming from the great state of Minnesota. I just listened to episode 35. Well, I shouldn't say just. I did yesterday. And I'm curious, why do men always discuss what route was taken on a trip? What does it matter? I don't understand what the big deal is. And no matter which way you say you went, they always have a better way. Or they question why you went that way. I know that you said that your dad said that went on the podcast. This is something that women never discuss. It's a guy thing. What's even harder to believe or understand is why or when a man would ask a woman what route they took. They never remember that stuff. They just follow the directions on the TomTom or the whatever app they're using for their map system. I personally refuse to have these discussions. When I first moved to Minnesota from the great state of North Carolina, I was gifted a TomTom, which was like one of those little map devices that you hang on your windshield. And you punch in your destination, and it magically takes you off to where you want to be. I never had to learn directions to things. When I lived in North Carolina, I knew where everything was. When I moved to Minnesota, I relied on my TomTom. It told me how to get there. So it always bum-fuzzled me when people were like, well, how did you get there? I don't know. However, my TomTom told me to go. Is it a guy thing? Or is it just something that I personally don't understand? There's something to ponder. Have a good day.
Cheryl, thank you for the call on the Wheeler's Dog Speak line, 336-422-6006. I will tell you this, the only reason I brought up which way we came up was because I knew it would irritate my father. That's really, honestly, the reason I brought it up. Yeah, because it was 17 minutes slower the way we normally come up. And I like getting on 77. Instead of going, get up to Hillsville, Virginia, you get on Highway 100, which is like a 2-lane highway. No telling who's going to pop out in front of you, going God knows how slow. And then getting on the Devil's Parkway, as Jeff Kay calls it from the West Virginia Surf Report. I'm talking about Interstate 81. That is, we're only on it for like a few miles, but good gosh, it's getting on and off. It's like, you're risking your life, and it's crazy. And then you get back on the 100, and then you get on the 460. And 460, a lot of it is, 4 lanes, with a median divider. And it's real curvy, but I kind of like I-77. I like when you get into Virginia, you've got this beautiful view if you're able to look out. I try to as much as I possibly can. And you cross the New River on this wonderful bridge, and it's nice to see. I like the scenery, and it's not so curvy, And plus, you're traveling. Well, I'm traveling. If it's 65, I'm doing 70. If it's 70 miles per hour speed limit, I'm doing 75. And it's nice. You can put the car in cruise control. You can't really do that on those 2-lane highways, especially, things, you go through like a little town, it's all of a sudden 55 to 35, sometimes maybe 40. But the only reason I brought it up, the route, was 2 reasons, actually. One, for listeners, so they can have an idea if maybe somebody has been on that same route, maybe people have been on those same roads. And so it kind of gives people an idea of, a visual in their head, or like, hey, I've been there. Yeah, it's that kind of thing, It's relatable, as they say. And the other reason, again, just to irritate my father. And I told him, Google Maps, that's what I use. I use on my phone all the time. When I'm driving around to Raleigh and back, I use Google Maps, even though I know the way there. You want to know why? It tells me when there's a traffic cop ahead, or a speed trap, as they call it. It also tells me about accidents. I can't tell you, how many times I've been coming back from Raleigh and everything was clear, but then going back, it's like something has happened along the way, and it will tell me, like, would you like to go this route to save 17 minutes? You damn straight I would. So I will take that route every time, even though it's, Highway 70 is laced with stoplights. I'm still making better time, and it will take me through Durham on 85 and everything like that. But, yeah, that's the only real reason, to kind of make it relatable and to irritate my father. I know what you're talking about. I've heard guys do that sort of thing. I'm not the guy talk kind of guy. I don't know if you know this, but I am, well, when I'm hanging out, with family and friends or something, I'm more at home with the females. They talk more about things that I'm interested in. And, when you're talking highways and fishing and working on cars or sweating up a storm, that kind of talk isn't for me. People start talking about sports, stuff I don't really follow. I see my way out of that conversation. So lots of times you will find me hanging out more with the lady folk than the men folk, because they talk more about stuff that I'm into, like television and entertainment and that sort of thing. Not that guys don't, they do, but most of the time it's a real testosterone fueled kind of conversation. So I don't really have a whole lot of time for that. Anyway, hey, guess what? When it rains, it pours. Here's the second call to the Wheeler's Dog Speak Line, 336-422-6006.
Hello, Wheeler's Dog Podcast, Eugene and family. This is Paula, loyal listener to your podcast. So I had a couple of thoughts after the most recent podcast, specifically pertaining to Sam and his right to protest. First, I want to say that I am very proud of Sam. Sam's a good man. He is a man of conviction, and he's doing good. I don't necessarily think that it's all about changing someone's mind who's a racist, because no, protest isn't going to do that. But these protests are affecting real change. Laws are being rewritten. I believe laws will be enacted thanks to these protests. People are being brought together by these protests. In King, North Carolina, that was a couple of weeks ago, you actually had the King police marching with protesters. I think that's a big deal. Change comes about when people protest. That's what this country was founded on. That's what brought us here. That's what got us going. And I do believe also, from what I hear, you come across as a little condescending when you say that it is his right to protest, but at the same time you turn around and say it's his time to waste, or that he should be taking advantage of your wisdom. One could also say, and there's a big argument for anybody who votes libertarian is in fact wasting their time as well as their vote. It's still your right to do it. So there's that argument as well. So I'm just saying, I'm proud of Sam. He's doing good. He needs to keep it up, in my opinion. And you, if it were me, I want to see you tackle these hot button topics, because that's what, I don't know. It got me excited. It got me interested. So anyway, that's just my opinion, my 2 cents. Not that it's worth much, but have a great day.
Thank you, Paula. I do appreciate you calling in. Leaving a message on the Wheeler's Dog Speak Line, 336-422-6006. And I just noticed while I'm listening to that call, every time I touch this table, I'm in the game room, we've moved the table. It's a glass table, and every time I touch it, it makes a noise. So if you're hearing that kind of stuff going on in the background, my apologies. I'll figure out what to do this. First of all, let's go ahead and address some of the things that Paula was talking about. And also, feel free to speak your mind on the Wheeler's Dog Speak Line. That's what it's for. And I love that Paula, took me to task. And I will go ahead and tell you, I've said it out here on our back deck. Sam is a better man than I am. I admit it. Sure, I sound a little condescending. I admit it. I do think it's a waste of time, personally, because, you know, the real issue at the heart of the matter is racism. And I don't care how many laws that you rewrite, if I can say that right, and laws that you enact, it's not going to go away. You can't change the heart of some people with laws. You know, it just doesn't happen. I mean, we've got a 45 zone speed limit out here. They keep changing the laws. Do you think that's going to keep people from speeding? No, it's just, to me, it's just political posturing. Well, something's got to be done. You know, it's a knee-jerk reaction. You know, there are laws already on the books for these type of things. I don't agree with more political crap thrown in. You know, what I mean is like rewriting, and I don't know. It seems like it's getting too picky, and then also you can throw more charges on the people. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, they're guilty. They're guilty of this. But then, hey, you know what? Let's also slap them with this. That'll add a little more time. Let's slap them with this. You know, it just seems like a little bit of the cruel and unusual punishment if you keep stacking up charges with the ones that you enact or rewrite along with other charges. So I don't think that personally, and again, this is my opinion, condescending or not, I think you're wasting your time out there trying to make changes with racism. Do I think it's deplorable? It is deplorable. And I had to sit and listen to people not too long ago taking up for the cops, you know, without knowing the history of why some people, you know, resist. You know, you don't know the history. You don't know. You've not lived in their shoes. All you got to do is ask. Ask people to try to understand. But, you know, these are just people just kind of, you know, slapping each other's backs and really agreeing with their own opinions. Me personally, I don't agree with them. And I try to keep my mouth shut because all it's going to do is make people yelly. Yeah, I'll admit it. Some of these people are my own family. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. Yeah, that's the deal. And you hear this, and I like to call them Trump-Luddites. And I think that's really what's kind of hit over this nation. It's like some idiot in charge, and I'm talking about the president, has been saying all kinds of things. So everybody feels it necessary to speak their mind, even when they ought not to, because it just makes them look small and stupid. And maybe me being, or my feelings on this makes me seem small and stupid. Maybe. I think I said it in the podcast. Maybe it does change. Maybe it does. I put that big word in there. Maybe. Kind of small, but maybe it does. Personally, I think it's a waste of time. And I'm going to stand by that statement. Because, you know, you got the disease going on. I don't want to get out there rubbing shoulder to shoulder with people. Even though I agree with them, I don't want to be out there taking a chance. And the other thing is, it all comes down to racism. Plain and simple. And you can't change the hearts of people no matter how many laws you enact or rewrite. Can't say that word today. Rewrite. I give it up. No matter how many laws that you do over. I don't think that's gonna happen. Now again, Sam, he's a better man than I am. We didn't have a disagreement, even though his mother felt like she was in the middle of it. And the funniest part was she says, I'm going to have house and peace in my house, damn it. The only person that's allowed to yell is me. So she made us come together and talk about it, and neither one of us had a problem with each other. But, you know, I guess when we talk to her about it, when the other's not around, which I don't, I haven't complained about Sam. Again, that's his right to protest. Yes, change is happening. I can see it happening. But is it really going to change the hearts of men? I just don't see it. By the way, that's Lucy. She's in the game room with me. She wanted in, so I let her in. But, okay, Paula, I take your points. I take them. But I'm going to stand by what I said. And as a libertarian, I do vote my conscience. But I am not one of these people that's, well, let's put it this way. You see it a lot. It's been called slacktivism, and I see that. Where it's another feel-good thing where people think they're doing something. It's like, like when France had terror attacks, people used like an overlay of the French flag on their profile picture to make it, yes, I'm doing something. And people will put, the BLM logo on their Facebook page of, yes, I'm doing something. Slacktivism gets on my nerves because even though there's proof that it does help, I just don't participate in such things. And you were also talking about hot button topics. Maybe I should. Maybe I should take on one. Maybe, I don't know, once every 2 weeks or something like that. Because, there are some things that kind of grind my gears. Things that go on, things I don't like. And things that I speak my piece about. And a lot of times, Bait and I, my buddy Bait, we get in full-blown discussions about things. And I try not to bring up politics around Bait. So, yeah. Even though he's a conservative and I'm a libertarian and we have a lot in common, there are lots of things that I just don't see his way. So, yeah. Maybe I should take on these hot button topics every now and then, get you fired up. Paula, I didn't mean to get you upset. And you're absolutely right. Sam is a good man, and I'm going to say it again. He's a better man than I am. He's going along with his convictions. So I really got no problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. I just think that for me, personally, it would be a waste of my time. And I apologize to Sam about saying it was a waste of his time. So there, Sam, I'm saying it here publicly. I'm sorry. And please accept my apologies. Because you feel that convicted to do something, well, you do it. It's your right. You got it. So there you go.
The Less Desirables Network's own national sports podcast, Fan Interference, hosted by Ty Collins, is available everywhere you find podcasts and at TLDpodNetwork.com. Down, set. Hut, hut.
Again, the Wheelers Dog Speak line, 336-422-6006. And like Paula, if something gets you fired up, something stupid I might say, give me a call, set me straight. Anyway, it's time to wrap this thing up, the Wheelers Dog Podcast. I do appreciate you listening. And, well, I guess I'm going to crawl back in my hole now. See ya. And at about that time, that's when I decided to pop open my first sedative. And I'm talking about my Yingling Light.